Today, we're going to be finding out why Confucius can't bear to watch someone who is a hypocrite and why he thinks that being a hypocrite is the same as being almost not a human at all. It's not something that humans would ever do. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. 3.26. The master said, to be without tolerance when in a high position, without regret when performing the rites, without sorrow when in mourning. What is the point of witnessing such things? Of course, he is expressing disdain about performing kind of hypocritical actions. And the first one is to be without tolerance when in a high position. So when you are in a kind of a more superior position, like if you're a ruler or a leader or anyone with authority, and you're not being broad and generous, instead you're being narrow and harsh and petty, that is hypocrisy, because leaders are meant to be more generous and leaders are meant to treat everyone fairly, like we've talked about. The 君子, or the gentleman, the ideal person in Confucius' point of view, we've talked about that the gentleman would be more broad and wouldn't just have his own little clique of people who he agrees with, and he just hates everyone else, like the petty man does. And so the 君子, which is who a ruler should be a gentleman, or a leader should be a gentleman. So these people shouldn't just side with those who they agree with and just hate everyone else. That's not how it's supposed to work. And if you're someone in a position with authority and you're doing that, that is doing the opposite of what you are meant to do. And then we move on to, I lost my page, without respect when performing the rites. So the rites are, again, the procedures that you're meant to do when you are going about with doing things. That could be from conversations or to even morning rites, and basically anything. It governs what you are meant to do without actually putting any force into it. And when you are performing the rites, when you are going through a ritual, you should be respectful and be understanding and aware of the situation that you are in. And you, for example, when you're in church, I suppose, you should always be in a more respectful attitude, and you should know where you are. So there's a place for doing certain things, and a place for not doing those certain things. And for example, in church, you shouldn't be really loud when people are praying in silence, because then that'll disturb them. Or for example, if your parents are talking to you, then you shouldn't be looking down on your phone. You should put your phone away and directly make eye contact with them to indicate that you are listening to what they're saying. And that applies to teachers or your friends or anyone else. And that is showing respect when doing anything, really. But with the rites, you need to have reverence and sincerity and inner respect. So you should also not just pretend to be respectful or anything, because you should be genuine about it. And then, I lost my page again. Without sorrow when in mourning. So during a funeral, if you're not sincere, like if you're not actually feeling sad, or you're just emotionally cold or insincere or without grief, then if you're at a funeral, you should be respectful to whoever has passed away and whoever is in mourning for them. And also, mourning rituals aren't just showpieces. They're meant to evoke real, genuine emotion inside the person who is mourning. And if you can't express sorrow and grief, the actual kind, I don't know what to say, and apparently Confucius doesn't either. And so he says, what is the point of witnessing such things? And so he lists the 3 public kind of situations that reveals a person's real heart. So it's in power, in ritual, and in mourning. So when in power, a ruler should be ruling with tolerance and broad-mindedness. So if you're being narrow-minded or harsh or small-minded, then that is kind of not really benevolent, because as a leader, you should be tolerant toward everyone, and you shouldn't really be excluding anything or anyone. But that doesn't mean that you should be friends with everyone. That doesn't mean you should be close to even terrible people. It's just that you should be considerate of your subjects, because your subjects, sure, they will be different from you, but you still have to take care of them. That is your duty. And then during the rites, you should perform them with reverent attention and sincerity. And if you're just going through the motions, then that's really sad. And then when in mourning, again, the funeral kind of rites are not just for performance. They're supposed to evoke real emotion in you. So you're meant to feel grief. And if you don't feel actual grief for the person who you are mourning for, then your morals are, I suppose, kind of messed up. Because if you're attending the funeral in the first place, then that means you were really close to that person. And if you don't feel sorrow, I don't know. And so Confucius is saying that if this person fails in all 3 settings, well, fails to be respectful or be respected, then there's nothing to learn from him or her. And so why these 3 specifically? So power tests your benevolence and your humaneness or humanity, however you would like to put it. It's just how you would treat other people. And ritual tests your reverence, while grief tests your real emotions. And so these 3 test whether or not someone is a gentleman, or someone is just merely an actor in a costume, or a hypocrite. So to summarize this in simple words, Confucius is saying that if someone is ruling without kindness, and if someone is performing ceremonies without respect, and if someone is mourning without actual sadness, then what is left of being human? And so Confucius says that he can't even stand watching this person. He can't even stand this kind of hypocrisy. And yeah, that'll be all today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will be more than happy to answer you. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!